Are you feeling absolutely lost by what is going on in the world of AI? Maybe you've tried ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatever the new AI hotness is, but you just don't get it. Yeah, these apps can give you clever or funny answers, but so what? And what's up with these answers? Why are they sometimes brilliant and other times worse than bad? Meanwhile, these AI experts are weighing in and hyping up AI as the ultimate savior of the universe. If I had $1 every time someone said AI will replace our jobs and usher in a new era of productivity, or maybe kill us all, I'd be doing pretty financially well. Meanwhile, you're just sitting there, confused by it all. Maybe you're wondering, am I just too damn old? Are other people seeing all these great things that I'm not? Or maybe you do think AI is the future, but it feels overwhelming. Is it too late to learn the latest and greatest? Well, as an old guy in my 40s who just started going deeper into AI, I'm here to tell you that the answer is absolutely not. It is not too late. I'm going to tell you the key concepts behind this so-called revolution with arguments on both sides of this is the greatest versus this is completely overblown hype. I will call this guide AI for people who don't know AI. I think understanding and having a long-term relationship with a new technology, any new technology, requires a nuanced approach. So, I'm going to talk to you like an actual human being and cover the following. Number one, why you should care about what's going on. I will give you the bull and bear case for all this hype. I will tell you what the hell actually happened over the past 3 to 5 years in as simple terms as possible. Number two, I will help you expand your mindset for experimentation. We'll work together to get over the fear of trying out new things, building experimentation into your life habits. Number three, last but not least, I'm going to equip you with the working principles on how to experiment with AI without feeling overwhelmed. We'll follow a tried and tested iterative approach I like to call baby steps. We'll take baby steps and then go deeper over time as we build up confidence. Because the technology is changing so rapidly, I think the fundamentals are more important than ever. I'd rather show you how to fish, or why even fish in the first place, instead of handing the fish over to you on the first day. If you get the fish on the first day, you'll eat it, and then you won't know what to do once you go hungry again. A heads up, I'm an opinionated bastard, and I love throwing in the occasional rant. I also hate a lot of the dumb AI videos I see on a regular basis. This is the full James experience, so buckle up. If you have barely any idea what's going on in the world of AI, and you want to hear someone break things down in as simple terms as possible while respecting your intelligence, then you've come to the right place. Let's go. Part one, what's the big deal? The history of AI, or artificial intelligence, is a long one. It started in the 1940s when researchers started to conceptualize thinking machines. Wait. Okay, hold up. That stuff doesn't matter so much. I can sit here and give you a 5-hour lecture of AI, but that's not what you're here for. We're here to talk about the present and what matters to you now. More precisely, since 2017, there's been this massive breakthrough in generative AI and the LLM, or large language model. If AI is, at a high level, an attempt to make machines more intelligent in the style of humans, quite literally, artificially intelligent, then the first thing we have to realize is that there's still a long way to go. Machines think in terms of ones and zeros. They're not human, and a machine brain is, as of today, far, far, far away from being human. To put it simply, we haven't solved the mystery of what is really inside our brains, or more critically, our inference, reasoning, and problem-solving abilities. The real breakthrough since 2017 is the advent of the transformer model. The transformer model allowed companies like OpenAI and Google to train what we call a foundation model based on large amounts of real-world data. The breakthrough here is that this machine brain, if we can call it that, is now able to train itself using vast amounts of knowledge found on the internet. And it develops strong capabilities for understanding the meaning of a sentence, collecting and sorting information, and all that fun stuff. The TLDR of the transformer model is that it made AI much better at figuring out human sentences. In fact, this latest wave of chatbots and ChatGPT and all its cousins is built on the bedrock of language and sentences. Let's just say that both before and after 2017, companies had to train these AI models with real-world data, typically text. It had to learn ideas and concepts from these texts, not unlike how we as children learn to read and reason and construct sentences using existing texts. But post 2017, with the transformer model, everything changed. Now, AI with very accurate probability can do more than construct coherent human sentences. It can also understand us, reason, and all that crazy stuff. Back in the old days, you type a command to a computer, and 8 times out of 10, it would completely misunderstand you, especially if you're giving an open-ended command, like, tell me what the dog saw, or tell me what I had last week. Well, which dog? And had last week? Had what? Food? Drink? What else? Now, this large language model can understand you with a super high degree of accuracy. Ask ChatGPT something, and it's scarily accurate. It's not perfect, but never underestimate the impact of computing power, brute force, and a crap ton of money behind it. Let's pretend that a foundation model starts on a blank canvas. As it absorbs sentences and websites and videos and books and swallows the internet whole, it starts to develop an understanding of the material. Remember that I mentioned 2017. It took years and years and years for a company like OpenAI to come along, get billions of dollars in investment, throw a ton of computing power behind training their foundational model, and multiple versions of ChatGPT, or generative pre-trained transformer, for us to enjoy the world as we see it in 2025. Oh, by the way, if you want to sound smart, or at least smarter than a true noob, here's a tip. Don't call AI AI. It's too generic. Call it Gen AI or generative AI or LLM when you're referring to DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Claude, or similar technology. Just like if you're driving a car, you might say I'm driving a BMW or I'm driving a Honda hybrid. You don't say I'm driving a motor vehicle. The term AI is way too general and way too loaded a term. Say Gen AI and you're going to sound way smarter. Trust me. Okay, back on topic. Technology is this idea that in the early stages, things don't look impressive at all. In fact, they look downright shitty. Do you remember the phones you had before the iPhone came out? Or for me, a laptop in the 2000s that weighed 10 kilograms and could barely hold a charge for more than an hour. But over time, the rate of technological progress is downright scary. And that's what happened in the field of generative AI. Spearheaded by companies like OpenAI, the first versions of ChatGPT sucked. They could barely understand what you asked, and the results were truly unimpressive, if not mundane. But as they scaled up the swallowing of the internet and made things go faster, it started to look more respectable until we're at the stage today where it feels like you're talking to a live human being. Now, I have to say a few words about AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. AGI is the idea that AI will one day match human intelligence. That's the day when all of those movies like 2001, Blade Runner become real, that robots are indistinguishable from humans from a reasoning and intellectual capacity, and maybe even take over the world. As good as generative AI is today, it has not proven that machines can be generally intelligent across the board and act with agency and other characteristics that humans tend to do. You might remember that AI can now beat the crap out of humans in games like chess or Go. But that's not AGI. Games like chess have very specific rules. And yes, the machine brains were trained on analyzing ungodly amounts of gameplay. So if you give it very specific parameters, there's no doubt that a machine can outperform a human. But think about the game of life. It's almost completely open-ended. So we are quite far away from true AGI. At least I think we're far away. That's the crazy thing about technology. We think it's impossible, and then boom, one day it becomes possible. So what's the bear case of Gen AI, you might ask? Why might you not want to care about it and just carry on with your life without paying attention to the latest and greatest? Is it all just overblown hype? Well, as advanced as some of the LLMs have become, they still make a lot of mistakes. Remember I said we're still far away from AGI. Sometimes you might be chatting with one and it starts to hallucinate. In other words, it starts to think really weird things. It's malfunctioning. And you have to understand that fundamentally, everything it knows comes from what we know. It's not like AI has suddenly gained some sort of breakthrough or nirvana that humans haven't. It's still playing catch up, and we are still playing gods, trying to get the machine to think and reason as we do. Also, remember what I said about the transformer model and training itself on human language based on existing texts. It's very good, but that does not mean it's perfect. Mistakes fall through. Sometimes even we, as humans, have difficulty understanding other humans. This shit is tough. LLMs are still dealing with fuzzy probabilities. This also leads to a slight digression of how much human, as in manual human enforcement, is needed. The reason why Gen AI has gone better over time with every new version with less hallucinations and silly shit is due to two reasons. Number one, there's more data that's gone into it and it's trained itself better. That's the secret sauce part. But number two, there are humans reviewing the generated content to make sure it's not pure garbage. Answers and questions need to be reviewed and adjusted. What you may not know is that point number two is ultra labor intensive. In this journey, companies like OpenAI have had to outsource these checks to workers all over the world. The process is called RLHF, Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback. It's exactly what it sounds like. Since the internet is full of really nasty stuff, they've had to review tons of adult content, adult videos, and thoughts that normal human beings should not be exposed to. I mean, really nasty shit. But that's what the internet is built on, isn't it? On top of that, remember the scene from The Matrix where the reality is revealed and we learn that robots are actually sucking the life force out of humans to maintain this virtual reality. It's not quite so bad right now, but there's a reason why we're facing an arms race of who has the most chips for AI data training, who has the fastest computers, who's built the most data centers around the world. This whole business of training the data is super environmentally and labor intensive. I'm not going to throw numbers out there. You have to do your own research, but let me just say that it's based on your personal values. Some people don't fly because they think the carbon footprint is too high to be on a plane. Some people don't want to buy a piece of clothing if they think it was produced through human exploitation. That's a personal choice that you'll have to make. And the best thing to do is to do your own research. Hell, ask ChatGPT now how much energy it consumes to make itself. Just be aware of the very real costs. Okay, what if I think Gen AI is kind of unimpressive? Maybe you've tried asking it stuff, but it feels no better than a Google search. The thing is, technology is also progressing at a rapid and scary pace. The first two versions of ChatGPT were laughably bad. There's a reason why no one used it until version 3, and then everyone started using it and it went viral. What seems silly today could be mature tomorrow. Don't forget that. Another thing to be aware of is that the historical development of AI has been led by humans. The humans have generally come from good socio-economic backgrounds, and they try to do the best they can on a collective level. No surprise, right? Nations, science, the Industrial Revolution, and the internet have all been created by a select group of folks, usually men, with a lot of concentrated elite power. But it just means that in the evolution of AI, a lot of decisions were made, and all of these decisions came with their own sets of biases and choices. You might argue that this is no different from any other technology or philosophy or policy, and you'd be right. But since there are a lot of private enterprises with their own profit and ego-driven agendas at work, the world of Gen AI could be very different in a few years depending on who wins the commercial battle. The winners write the history, and it's still anybody's game. Is it going to be a US-led company? Will it be a player coming out of China? Will it be a dark horse from somewhere else? All of these things are very real possibilities. So cynically, you can make a case that if you're all in on DeepSeek or all in on ChatGPT, it may not even be relevant next year. Maybe one of the models implodes, gets bought out by another company that then changes the algorithm or whatever. We just don't know. But that takes me to the bull case. And the bull case is that you should care because it's already transforming the way we work and live. And there's already too much invested in all this by governments and investors with deep pockets for it to easily go away. And that's also why mastering the basic principles of generative AI matter way more than how to do certain commands in one particular LLM. Look at the internet. The internet today, with the services you use on your phone, is vastly different than the internet of 10 years ago. Over time, some services rose and some services died out, but you are still using the internet. The foundation of the internet, that we're connected on a global level, that we've transformed a lot of the physical world into the virtual, hasn't changed all that much. And that's how it is with generative AI or crypto or something else that was a major trend in the past. It's too big to fail now. You could say that media coverage and what you read about these technologies has changed. Crypto isn't hot anymore, so we read a lot less about it, but it's still around whether you like it or not. And they're so firmly embedded now, and there's too much at stake for these companies to truly go away. Or let me put it this way. If the outcome of generative AI is on the spectrum of complete flop, it'll be gone the next decade, all the way to complete success, robots and AGI will rule the world. The expected value of the real result is somewhere in the middle. And rather than bet that it all implodes, It's smart to learn a little bit so that you're in the middle of the knowledge spectrum. I'm not saying you should start reading AI white papers and get a computer science degree and start to become an expert. I'm saying that you should expose yourself to enough of Gen AI to feel comfortable with it. The same way that when the internet came around or the iPhone came out, you started dabbling with new technology. But of course, this is my view. I want you to be a critical thinker and think about multiple sides of this argument. Technology adoption is like buying a stock. We all have our own personal beliefs and values around it. I'm just giving you an expanded perspective. It's up to you to think critically through this. Maybe pause this video, put the phone down, and think about this. I mean, truly think about this. You'll probably find that you'll have 1,000 follow-up questions on everything I presented, and that's fine. Take the time to think through it, and when you're ready to do more with Gen AI, we'll get to part 2. Now that you've decided Gen AI is a reasonable technology to dabble with, let's talk about how to get into an open-minded, experimental mindset about these things. Everybody approaches new things differently. We all have our comfort zones. Most people never leave their technology comfort zone, and that's normal. Usually it's some sort of existential crisis or being forced to use something at work that spurs people into action. So how do you get into the mindset of trying out new things? In my experience, it comes down to 3 steps. Number 1, recognizing why you want to learn something new. Number 2, committing to the learning. And number 3, gradual and agonizingly slow progress. You have to believe that the technology is helping you in some way. It's either solving a problem for you, saving you time, or providing a benefit. End of story. If you're in a job and feeling overwhelmed, or you just want to do simple stuff faster, like research your upcoming vacation, then maybe it's time to consider this new technology. Also remember that a lot of people have not figured this stuff out. There's a recent study that shows over 40% of workplaces around the world have Gen AI. In other words, employees have something like access to ChatGPT at work. But of those 40%, only 10% of those companies have truly become more productive. So it's still super, ultra, mega early. It's not too late to learn this stuff. In fact, it's still in the beginning stages. But just remember, you have to make the technology serve you. Think about that when it comes to Gen AI. How do you try out a new technology while setting and respecting healthy boundaries for yourself? Here's what I recommend. Step 1, sit down with a pen and paper and write down what you're hoping to get out of Gen AI. Are you looking for a partner to help you write better headlines? Are you looking for research help when it comes to vacations? Are you just interested in creating killer emojis? Or are you looking for a stronger version of Google that better understands your search intent? These are specific areas where Gen AI can help. In the beginning, when you're trying out new technology, you're exploring. It's important to be as specific as possible. You're not letting it dominate your life. Step 2, sit down and think about Gen AI as one data point. It's a friend who happens to be very smart, but sometimes too smart for their own good. If you're ever asking people for opinions or advice, you don't over-index and trust just one person. You take different views and come up with your own conclusions by triangulating and verifying. It's healthy to think of Mr. DeepSeek as one person, Ms. ChatGPT as another, Mr. Claude as someone else. Do not go all in on what one Gen AI tells you. Step 3, give yourself some weekly goals. For example, first week, I might just set up the apps, set up the account. Second week, I might practice asking Gen AI for advice on vacations. Third week, I might work on refining those questions. Over time, I will refine my prompts and see how different results play out. Try things out a bit at a time. Maybe set a timer for 30 minutes. After the time is up, go back to your life. You'll also want to start watching some videos about Gen AI from reputable sources. There's a ton of tutorial videos out there. Personally, I think the best way to figure out what to watch or read is just ask 2 or 3 friends who are AI savvy. Literally, ask them what sources they would recommend and why. Get a short list and start going through them. Word of mouth is king. You might also be tempted to ask Gen AI to recommend learning material. Yes, you can do this, but remember what I said, it's just one data point. Step 4, review your learnings on a weekly basis through some kind of journal. Write down what you've learned, new revelations, oh shit moments. Every week, sit down and write, but also review what you've written before. And always remember, it's good to ask others for help. I have some questions about prompting. I asked a friend whom I know is a ChatGPT power user. Like a boss, he helped me out. I know what you might be thinking. This sounds a lot like work. It sounds like I'm studying, but that's exactly what you need to do to level up and build your knowledge. There is no substitute for practice. You're not going to get better with new technology if you just sit there and read all these pieces about AI doing harmful things or speculating on how it's going to take over our planet. Instead, you learn by being immersed in the user experience and learning firsthand what it's like to get a great answer and a terrible answer from ChatGPT. And every other day, something new is created or invented in the field of AI. This stuff is changing. You have to figure out how to go at your own pace. But do not burn out in your learning. You need to have some amount of fun. Find a way to make it fun by asking ChatGPT crazy questions. Share your learnings with a friend. Document your journey. And that's why I'm considering making an AI bootcamp for the rest of us. For all of us in our busy middle-aged lives to try this stuff out together and hold each other accountable. If you're interested in that, definitely sound off in the comments or message me. Maybe this can become a thing, but even if it doesn't, let's figure out a way for you to organize your own groups and your own sharing to make it fun. Now I'm going to cover some of the Gen AI basics when it comes to prompting. In the current versions of these apps, the interaction is like a conversation. You use human language to ask Gen AI something, it tells you something back in human language, repeat. Sometimes it does feel like you're talking to a human, and people have all kinds of crazy chats and chat histories to prove it. Prompting, or writing prompts, is simply telling the Gen AI what you want. Remember, it's here to serve you, not the other way around. I want to preface this section to say that technology is changing so quickly. Gen AI is getting better all the time. Its reasoning or pseudo-reasoning capabilities are constantly growing, and these tips may not be all that relevant in the near future. And that's why you need to put in the work. Stay updated on the latest tutorials, talk to your friends, keep using the Gen AI of your choice through all the version upgrades. What I can say is that very generally, the number one thing people get wrong about Gen AI is that they use it like they use Google. They just feed it super simple prompts like, what's the capital city of Canada? Or incredibly generic questions like, what's the meaning of life? The first type of question is really easy to answer. You could plug the same thing into Google and bam, same result. You do not need Gen AI. The second type of question needs qualification. You don't go up to a random stranger and ask them, what's the meaning of life? I mean, who is that stranger? Who are you? What do you value? These are all qualifiers and parameters that go into it. The secret sauce here is actually, believe it or not, your notepad, or some sort of document that you can copy and paste from. Because what I'm about to tell you is so commonsensical, but we fail this all the time. And by this I mean, the general structure of how you prompt the LLM is like this. Number one, you tell the Gen AI to adopt a certain persona. In other words, you are blah, blah, blah. Number two, you tell the Gen AI their mission or goal. In other words, your mission is blah, blah, blah. Think of Gen AI as your employee or intern, always ready to serve you. Imagine you're delegating some task to the AI. Optionally, you can also tell them as much about yourself as possible. I am blah, 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 blah. Let's use a real example. Say you're looking for a good pizza restaurant. The generic prompt is going to be, give me the best pizza restaurants around me. I live in Shanghai, China. In fact, try that out and see what you get. A better prompt is going to be, who is the Gen AI role-playing? You can say, you are a pizza expert and food critic who is well-versed in recommending gourmet pizzas to a mainstream audience. And what's the Gen AI mission? You can write, your mission is to give me a list of the top 10 pizza restaurants in the Jing'an district of Shanghai, China, based on sales, customer reviews, and a reputation for using the best ingredients. Optionally, you can say more about who you are. I am a pizza connoisseur who likes the deep dish style of pizza, but I'll eat anything with meat on it. So the prompt is going to be pretty long, and this is why you want a notepad. Try writing out different versions of the prompt using the template, and then plug it into the LLM to get an answer. Are you happy with the answer? Great. Try plugging it into another Gen AI tool to see if there's any variation in answers. If you use ChatGPT, go to DeepSeek. If you use DeepSeek, go to Claude, etc. Remember that one Gen AI equals one reference point. You can ask multiple people for advice. Try it. Are you unhappy with the answer? Try tweaking the prompt. Instead of having to rewrite it and getting lazy or frustrated and then giving up, go to your notepad, make a copy, make some changes, and then try the new prompt. Copy and paste. Whatever prompts are working, save them so you can reuse them. Maybe next time you're asking a similar question, but not about pizzas, but about burgers. Great. Take that one out of the notepad, search and replace pizza with burger. Do you see where I'm going with this? You have to get smart with Gen AI. Step one is getting smart with your prompts and be as specific as possible. The thing that blows regular search out of the water is you can stack prompts on top of each other. So you fire off the prompt, the Gen AI tells you the answer. List of different pizza restaurants. Just like a conversation, you can follow up and re-prompt it something like, hey, I like the second pizza restaurant. Give me some places that are similar to that. The possibilities are nearly endless. That's the superpower of Gen AI, is that if you take the time to tell it exactly what you want and how you want it, it's going to be the most patient person in the world. It'll use all of its advanced knowledge, crawling the internet, to give you the best answer. And something that Gen AI tools are getting better at is attribution. In the answers, it tells you what sources it's pulling from. So you can also reprompt it by requesting a different source, or even challenging the source and asking it to explain why it's reasoning or deciding the way it is. Once again, nearly infinite possibilities if you're willing to interact. That's why Gen AI is starting to do amazing stuff, like reason for its answers, or vibe code, which is building an application for you as if it was a software engineer, and all kinds of crazy business. And that brings us to the end of this series. I'm really big on the why and the methodology of learning something new, whether it's technology or just about anything really. I hope you're going to watch this and get the last bit of motivation to start your Gen AI journey. Remember, it's not too late to get into Gen AI. We're still super mega ultra early on this stuff, even if the technology is starting to take off and it's starting to look pretty impressive. Thanks for watching, and definitely let me know in the comments if you're looking for other bits of AI related learning advice. Cheers.